name's Brad Blackman, and I'm with Digital Office Equipment, the company that's providing your copy machines for the school system. I'm going to do some basic troubleshooting and training on this copy machine for you so that you can see how to handle your typical jams. First thing we're going to talk about is the document feeder. The same rules apply with this document feeder as the last machine that we talked about. You have a line up here that you don't want to put copies above. This one will actually hold over 200 sheets of paper in the document feeder. If you have more than that, use the continuous scan function from the LCD panel. Don't try to shove your papers in here, as we talked about earlier, trying to catch up with the machine if you got more than that. Your jam access door to this machine is right here on top, and this allows you access to the inside of the document feeder. You do have a green wheel over here that I would recommend rolling in the counterclockwise position, unless the paper, you can barely see the trail edge of it here, and then you can roll it back clockwise to you. Up under this machine, you have a door unlike the other one. The other one didn't have a door here, but this has got a little green button that allows you access to the underside of the document feeder. So your paper's either going to be up here at top, right here, or over here. Gives you complete access to the inside. Now, same rules apply that we talked about earlier with this sensor right here. Don't lay your originals over here. Lay your originals over here on the document, or the finisher. Same rules apply with this slick glass. Make sure that this is clean, using your fingernail to scratch it and your thumb or finger to wipe off very good. I can see a little piece of dirt right there that would probably cause a black line. I'm just going to scratch it off real quick. So make sure that if you get black lines on your copies, that's clean. The other unique thing about this machine is you have two of these glasses, if one wasn't enough. Up under here, you have another glass that's right here. This is if you get a black line on the back side of your copy, because this copy machine doesn't pull in your paper and flip it. It reads both sides of your paper in one pass as it goes through. So it uses this glass to read the front side and this glass to read the back side. It's very rare something gets stuck to this glass, but it can happen. It's very more popular for it to happen here. Alright. Same over here as we had on the other machine. You've got a bypass tray. This is where you're going to want to feed your card stocks, your transparencies, anything other than your typical paper. But here is where you have your jam access door for your paper trays. This opens up out to the right. Your paper will come out of one of these little black areas right here, and it just depends on if it's coming out of tray 4, 3, or 1 or 2. The most common problem I think we're called for at the school system is when a sheet of paper is stuck in the machine, it's jammed like this. When a teacher comes to remove that paper, they're standing in front of the machine and they pull that paper to them at an angle. That causes these black sensors, depending on how bad the jam was, to pop out of place. When those pop out of place, they fall down in this little bucket area, and the machine shows a jam whether you can find one or not. We have to come back up, find this little black piece, and put it back on before the copier is usable again. So when removing jams, please make sure you pull straight up and be cautious of pulling anything at an angle. Especially these black levers right here, because they are easy to pop out, and when they pop out, your machine's disabled. In the paper trays here, you have your two large capacity paper trays on top. They only hold 8.5 by 11 paper, whereas the other machine, these were on the bottom. You put your paper in with the same rules applying, making sure that all your paper is nice and neat. If the paper's in there wrong, your machine will jam. In these drawers, unlike the other machine we looked at, the paper is loaded on the right-hand side of the drawer instead of the left-hand side of the drawer. You'll notice that the guides are tight against the paper, and that's very important. When the guides are not tight against the paper, it will cause a jam. And you've got your fourth paper tray here. Again, don't put your extra paper on the left-hand side of this paper tray. It will cause the machine to jam. You want to have it only on the right-hand side. Now, in the machine, this one's a little bit more complicated than the last one. This does open up and shows you all the inside guts of the machine. First off, we have your toner cartridge. It's got a little blue tab that you just slide over and slide out your toner cartridge. This will go in the recycle box, and your new one, what you'll want to do is shake from left to right and slide it back in until that blue tab locks back over into place. This one does not have a waste toner cartridge that y'all can empty. You have to call one of our technicians to come up here and empty it because it's behind a screw door here. Where the other machine had the waste toner cartridge that you replace every time you replace your toner. The first area I'm going to show you is the A2 lever. This just clicks down. If you noticed, I can push it with one finger. If this tray was pushed in incorrectly, and I'll show you how that can happen in a second, you would really have to have some muscle to flip it over. That's not good, typically causes service calls and we have to come up. This slides out and allows you access to the most common areas your paper is going to be if it jams. You have an A8 lever that leans back, allows you access to paper here. You have an A7 lever that leans up, allows you access to paper here. You also have an A5 that you can push in, and this raises up for you, allowing you access to the fuser. This is the hot part of the machine. Watch your fingers if you want to put your fingers in on either side. Never use knives or scissors or anything to stick in there to help you get the paper out. When you stick a knife or a scissor in there, there's a little, it's basically like a frying pan. It's got a Teflon coat on it. If you scratch that Teflon coat, then all your images come out with a scratch on them, a black image. And then here is your transfer belt that moves over. When putting this down, you squeeze this lever again and it falls into place. I like to tell everybody to put a finger on this side and a finger on this side to push into place, instead of just pushing it down like that. Sometimes if you push it down with one finger, it clicked in on both sides, but you can have it where it only clicks in on one side and this side's not clicked in, which would cause jams. If your paper is difficult to get to in this section, you do have a wheel that you will roll counterclockwise to get your paper out. This slides back in. You notice it didn't take a lot of pressure to do it, and one finger to flip up the A2 level. You don't need to throw it into the machine, and you don't need to do it so light that it doesn't go in there and then this doesn't go up with one finger and you have to force it up. You can force that lever up by not having it in the machine. But if you can't do it with one finger, it's in incorrectly, and try to do it again. That's very important. You did have another roller over here, A3, when accessing jams out of this top part. If you have a jam while duplexing an image, it can be in your B area. This is your duplex unit. This is not to be lifted up. Your paper will be either here, it will be here that you can pull out, or it will be under B2. This B2 falls down, and typically your paper, you just put your hand in there and it'll fall into your hand if it's jammed right here. You also have a B3 that lifts up and allows you access to the duplex unit. You'll notice you have one more area here. This is C1. The only time paper will be in this area is if the machine is feeding out a tray 2. And you have to have both paper drawers open to access it. This unit's sole purpose is just to pick paper out of this tray and pick it up over tray 1 to get it into the machine. But you do have a lever here, C2, that can lift up to allow you access to it. All of this just slides right back into the machine. With this machine, the finisher does not move away from the machine. It is permanently attached to it. So you have a door right here that allows you access to the inside. Again, we have the hole punch unit right here that contains all your holes. You'll see up here it'll tell you your hole punch unit's full when it needs to be dumped. You just dump it in a trash can or save this plastic piece and slide it back into the machine. This one has a G3 lever that flips down and slides out that allows you access to the finisher if you had a jam while stapling. G4 opens up, allows you access to your paper. It should be right here, and it closes back down. You do have a lever up here, G2. This one comes down at an odd angle. It comes down at a, I guess a 60-degree angle instead of straight down or straight to the side. It locks back into place. You've got the same lever that we had on the other one with the G5 that keeps it from rolling if your paper comes out in a circle. And you have G1 that will help you advance paper through the finisher if it's in an unreachable area. This lifts up right here, allowing you access to the top of the machine. And you'll notice there's a green tab here that allows you access if the paper jams coming directly into the finisher. And another wheel over here that will help you roll paper out of the hole punch unit if it's stuck there. This wheel again moves all of these rollers up here, helping you advance it. The staples on this machine are in a different place than the previous machine. They are behind the finisher right here. This one has 2 staple units because it will do saddle stitch stapling. If you are stapling in the top right hand corner of your document, the only stapler it uses is this top one. So you can have staples in this staple cartridge here, but not be able to staple because this one is empty. Same rules apply with this one. There's a little tab that you can barely push down and see if there's any staple, jam staples, and there were. It pushes right back down into that little plastic piece. Don't push it hard, just barely touching will release that top. And then it slides back into place here. This other one will pop out as well. All of them were jammed. And slides back in there. Once you slide that in the machine, this G3 will come up. If you forget to close down any of these levers inside the machine or outside the machine, it just won't let you close the door until it's moved back into position. And that covers the basic troubleshooting on your large machines.